Hi everyone. Group 7 will be presenting a case on the edtech industry. So starting off, let's first look at the edtech industry in brief. The Indian education system as a whole was hit very hard due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The reasons being that a severe lockdown was imposed by the government, which had put a halt to the learning process. The lack of infrastructure, both at the educational institution side and the student side, led to this situation becoming even more severe. However, it was observed that during the same lockdown period, the edtech industry grew substantially. The reason being that more and more students were now able to borrow or buy a laptop or a smartphone, and subscription levels to platforms like Byju's has been on the rise as well. Though the duration of the subscription has been reducing, with most of the people opting for only 1 year subscriptions rather than going for the longer haul. It is estimated that this industry is going to increase by 3.7 times from the current $2.8 billion to $10.4 billion market size in the next 5 years. Note, the market size has been calculated as the number of users times the average ticket size of payment. Currently, K 12 is occupying the major share of the existing market. But due to this ongoing pandemic, other services too, like coding classes for young students, has been on the rise. The main hurdle being that the internet reach in this country is still limited, with those having access to it were also experiencing poor connections. Some fun facts regarding this edtech industry, both at the Indian and the global level. In a recent research, 71 million kids in India aged between 5 and 11 years went online using devices of family members. And overall, there are 504 million internet users in India who are either 5 years or older. Globally, funding in the edtech market increased 4 times from $1.8 billion to $8.2 billion in 2019. Overall, 60% investment went to China, followed by the USA, then India, and finally Europe. And these other factors can be seen on the slide as well.
So, as we see, the edtech industry is expected to grow at a rate of 16.3% CAGR. That is approximately 2.5 times from 2019 to 2025. A short-term surge in edtech spending brought on by COVID-19 is expected to recalibrate to a longer-term integration of digital technologies and transition to much higher adoption of online education over the coming years. Part of this transition includes significant infrastructure catch-up required for managing learning, data, and administration, as most schools and colleges are still at very start of a long digital maturity journey. In addition to edtech's primary role supporting the formal education sector, B2C edtech models are on the rise as students, parents, and workers increasingly seek learning, support, and upskilling for supplemental and or more direct academic and career outcomes. Some fun facts about data penetration in India, which will be helpful to determine the industrial life cycle stage. So total active users as of 2020 is 532 million, out of which 71 million users of the age 5 to 11 are using online services under the adult supervision. And similarly, 164 million are uh, of the age 12 to 19. This shows us that India has an untapped market for edtech and large opportunities to invest in it.
The year 2008 witnessed the beginning of e-learning by companies like Khan Academy and Extramarks, which started providing education online. 2015 witnessed emergence of over 1,000 startups with investments of over 125 million US dollars. Though Indian edtech was already growing at a decent pace, the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic worked as a major thrust to this growth. Currently, this industry is in its initial stage, attracting huge investments from venture capitalists from all around the world, as well as new players entering in the market. For instance, Amazon recently announced its plan to introduce Amazon Academy. So, analysis of the external business environment here highlights some key factors that have shaped this industry recently. both various state governments and the national government's recent push towards education through some of the digital platforms like eBasta, Diksha, and ePathshala has brought the advantages of learning through online platforms on the forefront. Whereas on the flip side, the economic factors such as a massive disruption on the income stream of households has played from the opposite side. It has seen, as such, almost no socio-cultural and legal forces, but the technological disruption that has happened recently has entirely transformed the way this virtual learning is now taking place. Access to electronic devices and other technological barriers have just been weeded out. Environmental forces that have also shaped this industry and pushed various companies to grow is the massive disruption that took place, which was the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced people into their houses and forced them to learn through their own places. Next slide.
We have taken two very successful companies in the edtech industry. These are the top two companies by market share in the K-12 segment of the industry. These are Byju's and Vedantu. They have been very successful due to the finest acquisition of talent and student-centric learning. They are also very successful in seizing the opportunities arising due to the pandemic. For example, Byju's acquired firms which actually provided coding facilities in this COVID time so that they could, on their platform, help students to code. Now let's compare and contrast Byju's and Vedantu's. They were both started in year 2011. Vedantu, as its USP, provides live classes for students from 6th to 12th grade and even some competitive exams. Byju's, on the other hand, provides tailor-made educational solutions for the K-12 and also for the major competitive exams. Vedantu, on the other hand, has a system for one-on-one learning, which is very effective in the segment of 6th to 12th grade. It also has a USP of the quality teachers, engaging content, and superior technology. While Byju's, on the other hand, gives a personalized learning experience to the student. Moving on. Now let's talk about the key performance indices for the edtech industry. There is one very important metric that is easily available due to the technology. Every time a user signs in, he is being recorded as an active user. So monthly and daily active users plays a performance metric that is very important. Monthly and active users gives rise to another ratio called stickiness ratio. The stickiness ratio is a ratio which divides daily active users divided by monthly active users. It has been used across the edtech industry. Another one metric is lifetime value. Lifetime value measures the average revenue a customer brings during their relationship with the brand. Here, LTV is defined as average customer sale value into average customer lifespan. Average lifespan is another metric that is predicted by the companies, as if a person joins in 8th class, he or she is likely to continue till the 12th class. Student outcomes is another important because edtech companies, by entering into the world of education, have a responsibility to the students. These student metrics are also compared, such as number of lectures taken per student over a year or any measuring unit of time, even the amount of doubt classes entered into, and the questions posed by the teacher. These are very important KPIs for the edtech industry. Moving on.
So by now we know that Byju's is the India's leading edtech company. But doing a deep internal analysis, we get that it has a diverse product portfolio along with strong financials, which makes it the biggest strengths. Customer loyalty, human resources, and in IP property are another some of the factors for its main strength. Coming on to weaknesses, the price of the services have been all-time high. Although with the growing customer base, it is decreasing right now. But comparing to its competitor, it is still high. Overall, the CRM is also not well developed, along with the low ROI. Opportunities for the Byju's have been accelerated in the COVID arena, where online education has been trending, along with need for the professional courses and opening up the international market opportunities. With that, threats doesn't goes anywhere, like the data breach and the new competitors rising, along with the economic recession which we have been facing and the government regulations. So next slide, please. So by judging and analyzing the SWOT, we could see that the increased market share of utilizing market share can be increased for the Byju's by utilizing the existing positive sentiments which people have, along with the referral programs. Not only that, Byju's can reduce the price of the services and can introduce some freemium services for short period to attract new customers. Expansion, or rather entering into new markets, can be achieved since Byju's has a very strong portfolio of funding from big names such as Zuckerberg Foundation. Along with it, enjoys a very positive brand equity in the current market. Another possible offering could be expansion of its product offering, since Byju's has one of the most leading R&D department in the edtech industry, which could be utilized for its full potential. Next slide, please. Finally, the success mantras which has led Byju's to being the most successful startup of India. Philosophy. It has a totally different perspective and outlook to the education, where it differentiates itself with the recorded videos and personalized learning. Differentiated product with the strategically blend of content, media, technology, as well as partnership with Disney to curate personalized content and proprietary. It has led into a differentiated product portfolio, along with consultants and a strong sales team aiding to their help. Next slide.
Coming on to the SWOT analysis of Byju's, Vedantu, we see that they have very good quality, finest quality teachers and live interactive classes, but they also have some market share up for grabs, as we see in the opportunities, and they only focus on K-12 segment right now, which gives us one of the goals of Vedantu as segment expansion. Some of the other strengths also include strong digital presence, and they also providing courses in multilingual languages, but the variety of content available is lower. Hence, another important goal for Vedantu could be becoming a market leader in the K-12 segment, along with some other courses as well. Some of the more strengths and opportunities that we see is that they definitely provide a replacement to traditional teaching, but they have low presence in tier 3 and tier 4 cities, because of which we see that if they also increase their market penetration in rural India, that can help them become one of the finest market leaders of the edtech industry. Coming on to the success mantras of Vedantu, we see that there are three basic factors which have led Vedantu to become one of the best companies of the edtech industry, which are one-on-one interaction that they provide to the students, along with knowledge graphs, a student-centric model of learning, and also promotional learning, promoting learning at the student's pace, because Vedantu's vision is to impart knowledge and skills to the students for their benefit and not for the profits. Coming on to the next slide.
So looking at how the current and the future growth drivers will shape up, so they focus on retention, on increasing the unique paid user by improving the service quality. Moreover, they can penetrate towards the tier 3 and the tier 4 cities, including the Bharat, where the rural India resides, where the immense potential is there. Because of the affordability factor, they can tap that particular area. In addition to this, they can collaborate with the educational influencers, as well as by improving the after sales services, which can help them in lowering the customer acquisition cost, as well as boosting their user retention. Moreover, they can design the economical and lower cost subscription plans for the EWS category as well. So moving towards the next slide and looking at how after technological disruption, how the future shape up. The main problem that the edtech industry faces is that it is recognized as a supplementary courses, and the certificates that it issues, that does not get the credibility. So they can tackle the recognition with collaboration with the different universities just to enhance the acceptability factor as well. Moreover, they can design the rethinking of the classroom from the traditional classrooms with the help of the AI back just to maximize the learning experiences. Moreover, they can enhance the student learning programs as well with the help of AI-based systems, which can help them focus on the overall development of a children rather than just focusing on the number driven. Moreover, for the technological adoption, they can tap the cloud-based learning system as well. In addition to this, because of the users that will be using this system will be the teachers and the professors, so there needs to be upskilling at that point as well. So they can prioritize the faculty upskilling aspect also. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.